Hello everyone, in this video I'll introduce one of Fanon's chapters from Black Skin, White Mask. I guess some of you are already familiar with Fanon, for he is considered one of the pioneering figures in post-colonial theories. Today I want to focus on his chapter, The So-Called Dependency Complex of Colonized Peoples, because it contains some interesting ideas in psychoanalysis and colonialism. Before we move on, I would like to introduce the Caliban-Prospero complex. The complex is based on William Shakespeare's play The Tempest. Though I won't summarize it in this video, I'll attach a link to a summary in the description below so that you can check. When it comes to this text, Manoni believes that this Caliban-Prospero relationship is a win-win situation, while Fanon is deeply skeptical about it. Then let's have a closer look at its main ideas. In this chapter, Fanon problematizes Manoni's theorization of the dependency complex of the native Malagasy, or Madagascars, saying that everyone there existed legends foretelling the arrival of strangers from sea, bearing wondrous gifts with them. Manoni contends that the natives have been unconsciously dreaming about the West to conquer their land. Manoni also argues that the native could not overcome this dependency complex because he thought they were innately inferior. Fanon indicates that kind of mystifying and romanticizing narratives of colonial invasion worked as one of the justifying logics for those who colonized Madagascar and the other lands. To Fanon, this dependency complex was never insurmountable. Also, if this dependency complex really seemed to exist in them, it's because the colonialists destroyed their previous culture and life. Their envy for colonialists also originates from a similar reason. Therefore, this chapter argues that neither the natives are born inferior, nor their inferiority complex cannot be solved. Rather, the dependency complex is acquired later as the situation makes them so. Because the Madagascar natives are deprived of both psychological and material resources, and colonial settlements replace their place, they must rely on the colonialists in order to survive. Thus, pointing out that colonialism started from monetary interest and Europeans' leadership complex, Fanon criticizes Manoni for deliberately forgetting this history. As a social activist, psychoanalyst, and friend of Jean-Paul Sartre, with Marxian influence that emphasizes history and dialectical instruction, Manoni's iron rule of dependency complex was a sheer fantasy to Fanon. Ultimately, this offered a different way to look at psychoanalysis. That is, if the previous Freudian psychoanalysis was inclined to focus on gender and eroticism, Fanon's criticism contributed to materializing and historicizing the unconscious. To those who are colonized, at least, material conditions dominate both conscious and unconscious. In summary, Franz Fanon accuses Manoni's theorization of the dependency complex in its omission of history. This is why he demystifies this complex by turning to the history of colonial repression that made it possible for the colonialists to create their inferiors. Although this text was written decades ago, Fanon's ideas are still widely circulating, is still mentioned and studied in various studies and disciplines. So why don't you check it out? And now, I'll have to wrap up my video. I'm glad to have introduced one of the interesting chapters of Black Skin, White Mask. I hope you found this video helpful or enjoyable. Thank you for listening.